Hi everybody and welcome to Seeking the Sacred Earth. Okay, so talking about gossip in this video. Because it's been an issue in my life, it's been a place where I have learned a lot of hard lessons. And I really actively in my life now try to implement some serious boundaries with myself, with my relationships, so that I speak with integrity, so that I can go to bed at night being like, okay, were you foul about anybody? Because ultimately, what we say about others is actually a reflection about how we feel about ourselves. This concept is reflected over and over again to us, but it's not an easy one to grasp when we're in a state of judgment on other people. But how difficult is it to not be in that state? You know, to stay in a state of compassion for other people and their journeys. It's a lifelong practice. It's a lifelong striving to get to that place of wholeness where we can view other people as their highest self, as spirit within them rather than their shortcomings that we perceive as bad traits. So I grew up in a community where, there's a lot of gossip. That's how people bonded. Even in my family, I have 4 sisters and a very talkative mother, and it was constant triangulation. Everybody talking behind everybody's back. We're definitely in a better place right now, but bonding with each other was bonding through chaos or bonding through talking negatively about someone else. And there is a bit of an adrenaline hit to this. I mean, it doesn't not serve. It can bond you with people, and it can give you a bit of a rush to be, talking crap. But at the end of the day, the person that you're speaking to, if you're connecting with that person and you're bonding on something negative about someone else, you're not going to be trusting them. And they're not going to be trusting you, because the truth is, if you're talking to each other that way, then they're probably talking to someone else that way about you, and you are about them. So it just creates a constant cycle of distrust. And in that way, any positive benefits you could get by bonding is actually canceled out, deleted, and negated. I think in our culture, women are sort of encouraged to bond through gossip and nitpicking, that whole idea of like the mean girls. And, even though we call them the mean girls, they're the ones in power. So everybody sort of strives to be them in a way, that archetype of, the mean girl in high school. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. This sentence, this idea, is in most of our religious texts in human society, recorded history. So what does that mean? That means that our words create our reality. We speak things into existence. And if we're speaking about people in a negative way, we are basically creating more negativity in our life. It's going to come back at us. I think also, as time is evolving, as technology increases, as time speeds up, they say, I think that what's also speeding up is that blowback, that boomerang. Like, if you're going to talk negatively about somebody, that's going to get you, karma's going to come back quicker. So if only to work on this so that, you don't get crap thrown back at you, then take it from there. But the other idea is that maybe we avoid conflict, and some of the things you're saying negatively about people may need to be said to their face in a constructive way. Maybe you're speaking about people behind their backs because you're afraid to actually broach something that may need change because you don't know how to communicate with someone. So in that way, I was taught, try not to say anything negatively about someone behind their back, that you wouldn't say it to their face. So when you leave the conversation where you feel like you may have gossiped, you have to think to yourself, is what I spoke about possibly something that I need to address with the person that I was, bad-mouthing? And maybe that relationship actually needs your loving care. and it needs your attention, and maybe that person needs you to say, hey, this is how I'm feeling. Can we work on this? Or, this, you've done something and this is how it's made me feel. Can we find a common ground to where you're actually going to the source rather than giving your power away and doing it behind doors. Secrets, the truth is about secrets, they always come out, and that's what I've learned. You can't really hide anything. And as humanity is waking up to more of our intuitive gifts, this is even more the fact that lying and talking behind people's back and gossip and all of this comes back to sting us. So, exercise that I've worked with, when I'm going to bed and, I'm saying my prayers and I'm doing my gratitude list and I'm, I think to myself, did I speak with integrity today? Is what I said today going to increase the love, the emotional intimacy, the connection in my life with the people in my life? And sometimes it's yes and sometimes it's no. And when it's yes, it's like, great, I'm really learning this lesson. And when it's no, I then forgive myself because it's a work in progress. Our culture, the gossip and the bad mouthing, it's been ingrained in us. But we can deprogram it. We can delete that part of the matrix, if you will. We can speak with integrity. And, if you do need to be venomous in your words, get a journal that is specifically for that. You can call it, your venomous journal, your book of venom, whatever you want to call it, which is where you can just let the detritus out and say everything you want to that person. You can write it like you are saying it to someone else, or you can write it like you're saying it to that person. At least getting it out of your system so that you're not toxifying your friends or your acquaintances or your coworkers with your negativity. You put it on paper, and then you can do something with that paper. You can put it in the freezer to freeze it, to literally freeze the energy, so that it's not continuing to bubble in you. You can bury it in the earth to ground it to the idea of you're giving it back to Mother Earth, that she absorbs the negativity because she can turn it, the earth can transmute anything. Or you can burn it, which is basically ending it, clearing it with fire. And then whatever you want to do with the ashes, put it down the sink, the toilet, give it to the earth. Doing something to move the negativity through your body without hurting other people and without being an energy vampire to your friends by talking smack about other people. It's a work in progress. It really is. And the same thing applies to how we speak on social media. Are you speaking with integrity? If that person that you're, commenting on was in front of you physically, would you say the same thing? Sometimes I believe that the social media, it gives us this distance, like it's safe to be snide and snarky. But the truth is that energy is always going to be coming back to you. So it's never safe to be safe and snarky. It's always coming back to your very selves. So try this out. When you're speaking to your friends, your coworkers, your colleagues, your family, would you say what you're saying about someone else if they were standing in front of you? And in your social media experiences, what you're writing, would you say it to the person if the person was in front of your face? And if you are noticing that these are hard boundaries to create, then perhaps it's time to have a real one-on-one dialogue with some people in your life to create more connection, more emotional intimacy, and to get your needs met by empowering yourself to speak up for your feelings. I don't know. These are just some thoughts as I try to, be a better person and be a better communicator. These things weren't taught to us. So maybe some of you had amazing parents that taught you these things. But oftentimes what we're facing is we're having to parent ourselves. And, I'm raising a little dude, and speaking, with integrity is something we are really talking about now. I'm talking, he's almost 4, and we're having these conversations about how we speak to each other as a reflection of of how we feel about ourselves. I hope this was inspiring, and please take on these challenges with me, and we'll all work this together. Namaste, my friends.